Anyhow, I've just started up my record here.
Yes, sir.
Right. Here comes the video for you. So altogether, three revolutions breaking up in France. We will be seeing. One was 1789. The second revolution that broke out in France was 1830, and the third revolution that broke out in France was 1848, where these workers they took on the governments who were not at all favoring them for their upliftment. So in all those places, just now as you were saying, whether it is Italy, the Ottoman Empire, the Austrian Empire here, in all these places, the demand for establishing the constitutional governments was all went up, and the revolution started up. You can make a note of this. I think I have already talked about this. No, the date is strictly a wrong one. That is, don't go by that. It's 1848. You please remember a meeting was called upon in Germany in the Frankfurt Parliament, and this meeting was held in a church. I'll just repeat that word in the video. In the church of the Saint Paul. You please make a note of this that Frankfurt Parliament meeting was convened on May 18th and 1848 in the Saint Paul Church, in the church which is called as the Saint Paul. Okay, you please make a note of that
Sir,
because
sir, year 1948 or 1848, sir?
1848, man, that's a wrong one. It cannot be that advanced.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right, right.
Sir, church name, sir.
Saint Paul. St. dot P-A-L, or you can write the full form of the saint. S-A-I-N-T, Saint Paul, P-A-U-L. This meeting was called upon there.
Sir, tell again spelling, sir.
Saint, S-A-I-N-T, Saint P-A-U-L, Paul, Saint Paul. The Frankfurt Parliament meeting that was convened on May 18, 1848 was held in the St. Paul Church. Even maybe if I just slightly play you back again, you will understand that. If you are having a good reception with the video of the video's voice, then you can listen that. Because why the date is wrong, I'm telling you know. Because Germany was formed in the year 1870. The country like Germany was formed in the year 1870. So thereby, after forming a German country, one cannot fight for all this. The fight itself is going on for the sake of bringing up a government for the entire Germany. So the date is 1848. And in this meeting, most of them or majority of them were middle class people who did not agree to the conditions or who did not agree to the conditions or who did not agree to the opinion of rich people. They agreed only for what these people they wanted to tell. The middle class opinion prevailed actually. Now see, when things did not really work, when conservatives could not really stop the revolutionaries and the revolutionaries were not agreeing with the conservatives, a kind of an agreement took place that the conservatives were ready to run the government on the lines or on the guidelines given by the revolutions in their respective country. And this kind of an agreement was made in Germany for a while now, while we were seeing all these revolutionary aspects. This kind of compromise between the conservatives and as well as the revolutionaries was a kind of agreement which was like made for temporary time, but in the future or in the coming years there was another big revolution that was still coming up and they did not predict it about. This was a temporary kind of a compromise between these two groups, between the conservatives and the revolutionaries. Now, from here on, we will see what is the role played by the women. Actually, even the conservatives were not considering the role of women, that what they are playing and how important are they for the sake of their country and for the sake of their revolution and all that. Their contribution was going very ignorable. Then, how women started up demanding the rights, whether it is suffrage point of view or whether it is equality point of view or from freedom point of view. Let's see that also what kind of demand was made by women. So women were not getting the right to vote, women were not given equality, though they were a part of a revolution regularly and doing all efforts. Now here you can see why I'm stopping and why I'm trying to show up. Madiha? Okay. Here why I have just paused here is to show you that the women in this Frankfurt Parliament were sitting in the balcony top in one corner where one section of women are just sitting up and watching the entire parliament's proceedings. They were like they were like nominal members of the parliament. They were not important members. They were not playing any crucial role. They were not given any importance. They were just sitting in the balcony on left hand side corner where you can see the shaded area. You can all see on your screen. They were not given that importance also there. So when women were going up through this kind of unequal treatment, then some women, like here it is given, Louis Otto Peters is the one who led their opinions to tell all these people that there is a need to bring women also to be as an important role to be played. Women should be treated equally. Women should be given equality. These are the people who fought for it. Is somebody trying to turn on their videos? I don't know why. So the new word has arrived now, that is feminism. The word feminism means giving equal rights or equality to both men and women. Please make a note of this word. This word you might be coming across in one mark questions, that what is feminism. Feminism is nothing but giving importance to both male and females. So now I think the video will talk a little bit about the unification of Germany, which I have already told you about, and unification of Italy. Children, 1 minute, because if I take a call, I might get disconnected. Wait for a while, don't worry. I'll take it for a while because it's my son. I have to send him the link. Wait for a while. Right, I'm back, children. Hope I'm not disconnected with the net and all that. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now here there is another word called junkers. Please, you can note down this word called junkers. Junkers is nothing but the landowners of agricultural fields, agricultural lands. Here in Germany are called as junkers. Junkers. So another revolution has broke out here in Germany, who are called or who are belonging to the agricultural field. They have started up a revolution called junkers. Right. This is the photo of Otto von Bismarck, as I was telling you. You can also make a note that, you know, the country or a place that led the unification of Germany is Prussia. Prussia was the leading place or a leading part of Germany, which played an important role in the formation of unification of Germany. That is what his spelling is, Otto von Bismarck. If you have not noted his name, you can note it down. He's also called as a man of blood and iron. Okay, he played the important role in forming up the unification of Germany, and he did this and he achieved this with the help of 3 wars in a span of 6 years. These are the 3 wars that were fought by Prussia. The first one is the German-Danish War, 1864. Okay. Then Austro-Prussian War, 1866. Third is Franco-Prussian War in 1870. Okay.
Sir, wait a minute, sir. We will note this
Yeah,
wars.
yeah, you can note down. The names are according to their country. Danish is given because the people of Denmark are called as Danish. That's why it's a German Danish war. Okay. And the people of Austria are called as Austrians, and it is called as the Austro-Prussian war. And the third war that was fought with France, it's called as a Franco-Prussian war. Prussia is like the region of Germany itself. Okay, very intelligently, very planningly, very skillfully, he plans all these 3 wars, and then he fights all these 3 wars and achieves and wins all the 3 wars. And thus, after defeating these
Sir,
3 countries,
Prussia means
Sir, tell
Prussia
the
is
year,
one
sir.
of the state of Germany. Yeah, someone else
yes,
is
sir.
asking another doubt. Tell.
Sir, tell the year, sir.
Years. German-Danish War took place in the year 1864. 1864. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Austro-Prussian War took place in 1866. 1866. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Franco-Prussian War took place in 1870.
1870.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
1870. Not, it is not
Yes,
like
sir.
1817 is not there. It's 1870. So after defeating France, the accomplishment of unification of Germany was done. Then onwards, Germany came into existence. Parallelly, by during these years only, unification of Italy was also going on. The unification of Italy was accomplished in the year 1871, just 1 year after that. Okay? Maybe once we are done with this, even Italy also they will be telling about in the video. Let us see that. Are you all done? Shall I move ahead with the video?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now see, I have got less than 1.5 minutes. I have got less than 1.5 minutes. In case if I really forget to tell you that the class is going to end up and all that, you please understand that the class has ended up. Okay? Right.
Okay, sir.
In the Mirror Palace of Versailles, here, Kaiser William, Kaiser, Kaiser, Kaiser William was announced as the head of the country. So now you can see the map is entirely different now. All kingdoms are gone mostly. Now you see Germany, you see France, you see England, Ireland, Spain, Italy, like this. So the map is slowly changing up with the unification of those respective countries. Children, I have got less than 1 minute. Anytime I might get disconnect. Note down we have stopped at 33 minutes and 23 seconds. Okay. If in case next class taking place between Germany and France in the year 1870. Okay. The third war. Now this time France, when they came, France was already weak. France was not so strong. It was easy for Bismarck to defeat France. So France was easily defeated. So with the help of these three wars, with the defeat of the France, it was easy for Bismarck to declare a country as Germany. And when he declared this country as Germany, Mr. Kaiser William was made as the in charge, or Kaiser William, Kaiser. My handwriting is not going good with the mouse. Please try to understand. Okay, Kaiser William was selected as the in charge or the president of the country. So with this, 1870, the unification of Germany was accomplished by 1870, and the whole and sole credit goes to Mr. Otto von Bismarck. So similarly, let us see what exactly has been also done there in Italy. That how did the people there in Italy fought for their freedom and fought for their country, and how did they achieve their own country. Okay, I'll just play the video for a while now. You will watch it, and then I'll explain you out how does actually Italy has formed. We'll move ahead now. Don't really worry if in case the voice of the video is not clear to you. I'll help you out. So the repeat of the entire story is going on here. They may not tell you, or the video may not tell you in detail, but don't worry. I have already explained you. Just try to correlate what all I just told you now. Correlate that with the pictures coming up on your screen. Okay, 1864 to 1870, between these years, these many wars, the three wars that he fought. So the first war with German-Danish war, the second is Austro-Prussian war, and the third is the Franco-Prussian war. German-Danish war in the year 1864, Austro-Prussian war 1866, Franco-Prussian war 1870. Three wars that he fought. So finally, this is how the German country was formed in the year 1870, and Kaiser William II was chosen as the leader of the country. Okay, that's the mirror hall of the Versailles, where Kaiser William I is elected as the Emperor of Germany. So soon after the formation of German country, many efforts to form into a single nation started up, like bringing up a common currency, flag, and then states, and then ministries, and then governance, and then all sorts of efforts were taken up so as to develop Germany into a nation. Right. Now see Italy, you can see like Savo, Sardinia, Lombardy, Venetia, Parma, Modena, Tuscany, Papal States, Kingdom of both Sicily. Now this one is also a Kingdom of Sicily, and this is actually Sicily, the island. So Italy is divided like this according to the Congress of Vienna. It was divided into 6 states or 6 different kingdoms, where one among them was held by the Italian king himself, Mr. Victor Emmanuel II. He was the in charge, or he was the head of one of the places which was under his control, and the rest were handed over to some other people according to the Congress of Vienna. So let us see how Italians they fought. Now, in case of unification of Germany, there was only one person who did all that, who brought Germany into a single nation. But here, there are 3 more people along with the King Victor Emmanuel II. Those 3 people, now you'll get those pictures, watch. Now see, these are the 7 states that it was divided into. Sorry, not 6, 7 states. Okay. One of the states is called as a Austrian. Somebody is on unmute, like their family is Dikshita. Okay, fine. She has done that. Okay. So Austrian family, or an Austrian people, Habsburg family, was ruling over this region, Lombardy, Venetia, Modena, and Tuscany. This was under the control of the Habsburg family, put up by the Congress of Vienna. Papal states, now the central Italy is under the control of the Pope. Pope, I think you all know, a Christian head. Okay. Again, the Kingdom of Sicilies were all controlled by the Bourbon family. Bourbon, not chocolate, not biscuit, but this is one kind of a family, a clan. Now see, this is the only state ruled by the Italian, I mean the local. An Italian was holding a control over it, and it was King Victor Emmanuel II. Right, you can make a note of these 3 people who played an important role in forming up Italy. So they played their roles differently at different times in uniting all the Italian states, which were divided into 7 places or 7 kingdoms, and thus Italy was formed. So the first one that you see the picture is Mr. Joseph Mazzini, okay, Garibaldi, and Count Camillo di Count Cavour. Joseph Mazzini's little bit of information we have seen in the earlier module, also in the earlier video also, where he was a member of Carbonari first, the secret society, and later he himself formed two more secret societies. Any idea which are the 2 secret societies formed by him? Any idea?
Sir, Young Italy, Young Europe, sir.
Exactly.
Sir.
Young Italy,
Young Italy and Young Europe.
Young Europe. Exactly. Very good. Now you see another person called Garibaldi here. Garibaldi in the middle. Actually, this man was, from the childhood, his parents actually wanted him to be a pope or a father or a priest in the church. But because of that dream, as he was not interested in education and all that, he left his home, and he carried on traveling to different places, and he became a sailor. And while he was a sailor, as he felt that he need to do something for his country, he started up his own organization. If you have got a pen and paper, please make a note that he started up an organization called an organization of red shirts. Red shirts, the red color. Do you know red color? That organization was started up by him. He had an army of those red shirts, and with the help of his red shirts, which he had around 1,000 people, under his control, under his organization as red shirts. Okay, red shirts were about 1,000 people, and that 1,000 people only, with the help of those 1,000 red shirts people, he liberated Sicily from the control of the Bourbon family. And after defeating the Bourbon family from there, he handed over Sicily to the King Victor Emmanuel II. Okay, Count Cavour was another important person who played a little bit of a role here and there as per the revolutionary activities, and he too incorporated few of the states like papal states which was under the control of the Pope. He took his own ideas and initiatives and liberated that place and brought it to the help of King Victor Emmanuel II. And that's how they achieved the unification of Italy by the year 1871, 1 year later or 1 year after the Germany. Okay. Hope you would have understood the three people's role here. I'm not going much into the deep. There are few more points that I can talk about, but let's not go into it. So he is the one, King Victor Emmanuel II. Under his leadership, all the unification process went up, and in fact, he was trusted as to be the king after the Italy's all united. Garibaldi, you can see he is also wearing a red shirt because he had an organization called the Organization of Red Shirts, and there were about 1,000 people, 1,000 soldiers in his organization who are also wearing the red shirts. Okay. So those were the people who were all wearing the red shirts, and they joined the revolution, fighting against the Austrian France forces that were existing there in Italy. By defeating all them, they were able to achieve the unification of Italy. I don't have a specific wars like or a plan like kind of thing which I can explain you like I explained in case of Germany. It's like happened here and there and now and then, with all these a kind of revolution that went up between the revolutionaries and as well as the external forces that were existing there in Italy, like Austria, France, and other families appointed by the Congress of Vienna, whether it is a Habsburg family or a Bourbon family. Hmm. 1860 is particularly the year when Garibaldi landed here in Sicily. If you could have seen Sicily, I think you know Sicily, right? Oh, sorry, I went too long. Okay. Just a minute. I'll come back to that point where I can show you the Sicily. Right. So the bottom triangular area or island that you see is Sicily. In fact, these two places are called as the Kingdom of both Sicilies, which were under the control of The Bourbon family appointed by the Congress of Vienna. So they fought against the forces of the Bourbon family here. All the red shirts people defeated them and they hand over this to the Sardinian king, that is King Victor Emmanuel II. Right. So after the unification of Germany and Italy, things favored in the formation of many states in their respective countries. Many countries came to be formed in Europe. Okay. And the scenario entirely changed from kingdoms to almost like countries, like nation states have come up. So after the formation of Italy, what all happened? Let us see that. Okay. I'll just play the video for a while. Let's see how far we have gone through it and how far we'll be going through. Meanwhile, when all these processes were going on the other side, there is also a topic with regard to women. What was the role played by women in all these unifications, whether it is Germany, Italy, and particularly Europe and France? How? How did they play the role and what was their role in all these revolutions? Did they get justified? Was there an establishment of a feminine society? Let's look into that. So those two kingdom of Sicilies were handed over by Garibaldi to the King Victor Emmanuel II. Now see, there are there are four countries here: Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England. Okay, which are together are called as Great Britain or United Kingdom.
నీకు కూడా తెచ్చిన నువ్వు కూడా తింటావు కదా
ఎవరు?
ఆ అంకుల్ అన్నట్టు ఇంటి అంటే మమ్మీ తిట్టదా అంటే తిట్టదు అంకుల్ ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళకు కూడా కొంటున్నాం కదా నాన్న.
Pranav.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ సార్.
Good morning, Pranav. Was that Pranav open? Because all your matter got just now recorded. You can just make it clear that how all these a kind of an agreement between Scotland and England have made all these four countries together to be called as a United Kingdom of Great Britain. So UK. Now see, what all the video is also talking about is that how England tried to dominate the regions of Scotland, the regions of Ireland, so as to so as to see that all these regions comes under the influence of Britishers. Now the Catholics and as well as the Protestants or the Christian divisions that they had. Okay, and usually a kind of conflict always arises between them. and because of which actually many people they left from this region and they got settled down in the newly discovered America by Christopher Columbus. I think I told you the story of the 13 American colonies that were formed in America. Wolfstone, who worked for the Irish identity but could not do much. He was really crushed by the Britishers, and thereby the entire region was well dominated by the Britishers out there. So almost like with the English dominance in the regions of Scotland, in the regions of Ireland, finally the entire United Kingdom of Great Britain has taken place. What happened? Did anybody ask a question? Now see, throughout revolution, symbols has been playing an important role. That's what the video is talking about. Symbols are something that are like things. Like you saw the Olympic symbol, you saw the Red Cross symbol, and this is the one which belongs to the League of Nations. What is League of Nations and all that we'll see in the next chapter. Okay. Okay, you have got a complete what do you call a page which is belonging to the symbols itself. Like throughout the revolutions in the entire Europe, symbols were used so as to convey the message. Like now, the one which you are seeing on the screen is a broken chain. This symbolizes the abolition of slavery or the removal of slavery. Slavery, I hope you all know what is slavery and all that. So slavery is nothing but the bonded labor ship that was existing during that time. That how people were brought together. That how people were, you know, people were asked to work under them, or they were asked to be the labor for themselves for years together, for months together. That they have to be under the control of their boss. So such kind of slavery was abolished during the 18th century, and these symbols were used that they need to break all these kind of things. Sorry, huh? Now this is the one faces a strength of unity. It's like bundle of rods. The faces are like the bundle of rods, which is a resemblance to the unity, a strength of unity. It's like united you stand, divided you fall, a kind of thing. Okay, which resembles unity. You can make a note of all these symbols that were used all in all these revolutions in Europe, because you may get in one more questions. Okay, the red Pygmalion cap, which is a symbol of the freedom of a slave, that he is free from slavery. So that kind of a Phrygian cap that the people were wearing it, and if they are wearing it, it means that he is free from slavery. He is no more a slave. And few more are there in the textbook, which we can see it afterwards. Okay. Now, let us see what exactly the liberals also did in the Frankfurt Parliament and what were their proposals that came up. Now, for the first time, these people also proposed or they came to know about the universal adult franchise. Regarding this, I have already explained you in the ninth class also. Universally accepted condition that the suffrage will be given only to the adults. That was a demand that has come up. But unfortunately, the universal adult franchise, the demand that they made was not confined to the women. Women were not given in the beginning. So later in the stages, as the revolutions came up later in the 19th century, slowly women got the women's right. Let us see which countries gave the right to women one by one or one after the other. So women, they played an active role by forming associations, by being a member of the Jacobine clubs or secret societies. They were writing journals, they were writing newspapers and articles. All these things they were getting, but unfortunately, they were not having the right to vote in many of the parts of Europe. This one I have already discussed, like an example of that can be seen by the year 1848 on May 18 in the Frankfurt Parliament, which was convened in the Church of the St. Paul. The women were just sitting as a spectators from the gallery, that they were watching the entire procedures of the Parliament, but they were not having any right to vote. Now, for the sake of these women, some people like Otto Peters and all that, they have been fighting for their rights, and she's the one. So here is a word called feminism. So feminism took into consideration, or feminism has come into existence. The word feminism, which means giving equal rights to both men and women, giving equal rights to women also along with the men. So that concept has come up after all these revolutions taken up by women. Now you see, slowly most of the map has got changed, and now countries have come into existence. Particularly, you can see Italy, the Germany Empire or the German Empire, even still. Then France, then some of the countries in the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is gone, and now we have got a few countries like Bulgaria, Greece, Serbia, Bosnia. Some are not given the names here, but all the new countries have born up by 1914 now. 1914 is a specific year that I'm talking about here. Why? Because the First World War starts from 1914 onwards, where the continuation of this we will see in the next chapter when we come and when we talk about the next chapter in the history. Okay, what happened in the 1914? What happened in 1918? What all the conditions were there after the entire Europe map has got changed. Now the world is seeing some most powerful countries by the time that they have emerged as after the, especially the unification of Germany and Italy. The Europe has got now the most powerful countries. Now as they became stronger, and as they became powerful in the entire Europe, these countries started up imperialism. If you don't know the meaning of the word imperialism, you can make a note of this. It may be used in the 1 mark questions. Imperialism is nothing but occupying a country by another country. That is imperialism. So imperialistic attitude and imperialistic vision, these countries adapted and started occupying many countries outside Europe. Like particularly, they targeted the regions of Asia and Europe. And see, there was not a need that these countries that they have to have countries or they have to have colonies in those areas, but out of a fear and out of just a pride that they went to Asia and they went to Africa to occupy those regions, just to tell the world that I have hold these many countries under my control, just to tell the world, just to convey their neighboring countries that see, we have got so many countries under our control and we are the most powerful one, just to show that these people they started up imperialistic opinions. On the other side, you all know well, industrial revolution broke out at the same time. Vignesh, you're on a unmute mode. Can you please mute it? Right. So such kind of a race has started up in the entire Europe with the most powerful countries. Yeah, the picture right now that you are seeing on the screen is conveying that the rulers of a particular country, they started up occupying the countries in Asia and Africa, particularly targeting those countries, and bringing as many countries as possible under their control, which is called as imperialism. Like India was imperialized by England. England occupied India. So we can tell that our imperial masters were English people. They have imperialized us, they have colonized us. India was a colony of these Britishers. We are anyhow coming close to the chapter now. Okay. Now, please, you can make a note of this region, which is called as the Balkan region. I told you about this, that it was occupied by the Ottoman Empire. Ottomans were all English or all Muslim people, and these countries like Bulgaria, Greece, Romania, in even the topmost countries here, which are not highlighted, all those countries were Christian countries. So they started up fighting against those Ottoman Empire, against the Muslim control, and started up getting the independence. So the word Balkan is actually is nothing but it's like a chain of mountains. Sorry. Okay, it seems the word Balkan is derived from the Turkish language. It's taken from the Turkey language, which means a chain of mountains. You can see the Balkan Peninsula in the present day time, which countries all belong to the Balkan region of that time. You have got two comparison maps here. Okay, and what exactly the Balkan Peninsula means is given here. So it contains countries like Romania of the present region. So these are all the present countries which were once called as the Balkan Peninsula. So the word Balkan is actually derived from the Turkish language, which means a chain of hooded mountains or the covered mountains with the snow and all that. So the people of the Balkan Peninsula are called as Slavs. S-L-A-V-E. Slaves. It's not like slaves, it's Slavs. S-L-A-V-S. E doesn't come there. Slavs. S-L-A-V-S. You can just remember that how these people they got the inspiration from the French Revolution and they fought for their own independence. Now see the Balkan Peninsula when they were all fighting for this for the sake of their independence. Countries like England, countries like Germany, many superpowers like America, Russia, they too got interested in their fights. They were helping these Balkan countries to fight for their independence. But when they were helping them, they were also expecting something out of this region. What made countries like England, America, Russia to go and help these Balkan countries, we will see in the next chapter. These four countries that you see here, England, the German Empire, the Austro-Hungarian region, Russia, all these four powerful countries wanted to extend their control on this Balkan region. There is a reason that why they wanted to show the region or they wanted to show their interest in this region. What made them to go there and attract, what attracted them there to go there in that region and to control that region, we will see. The thing is that particularly they got their interest after they came to know that in this region there is crude oil availability. So countries like England, countries like Germany, countries like Russia, countries like Austria and Hungary, they showed their interest in this region because they came to know the discovery of crude oil in this region. That is the reason that they were interested in the in this region so as to come and occupy these regions. And because of this only, because of their interest in the Balkan region, it resulted into the First World War. How it happened, in what way the First World War went up and all that, when I talk about Hitler, the third chapter, then we will come to know all the reasons. I'll tell you how the planning was done, how it was executed, what happened in the Balkan Peninsula, all that I'll tell you. Now, see, after this, a sense of nationalistic feeling, it widespread to the different parts of even Asia and Africa, and every country started up, fighting for the sake of forming a nation. Where you will see after this lesson, we'll see the nationalism in India also, that how the Indians they fought against their imperial masters, and how did they form the country like India. That we will see. Okay, maybe that is in the next chapter. I'll do one thing here. We are almost ending up with the lesson. We will stop it. And then I'll drop the same videos link in the WhatsApp. You can go through this video also, which I am showing you. Okay. What happened?
Okay, sir.
Right. So let us finish up this video and then we'll go with the ending of the class. Anyhow, most of them they have left the class. I was 74, now 62. So from Europe, the feeling of nationalism has spread to the Asian and as well as in African countries. So when we talk about chapter 2, when we talk about the nationalism in India, then we will see that how Europe has been successful in impressing the people of Asia and Africa to fight for their nations as well. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of this chapter. What you can do is I'll just drop after this class. I'll drop my my voice has changed because of the cold. Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'll just drop this link to you, the link of this video. You just go through this and try to recollect everything. And the class of this also I'll post it up in the video. I mean in the YouTube. You can go through that both. Okay. So that's it, children. The first chapter we are done with it. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow then. Tomorrow again, I think we have a class on Thursday. Then we'll meet up on Thursday. Tell now. You tell all your doubts.
Class, which lesson, sir?
That I'll tell you in the next class.
Okay,
Which lesson
sir.
you want?
Economics.
You are talking
Sir,
about
geography, sir.
see, everyone will have their own demands. I'll finalize and I'll tell you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. So now you can take a leave. We'll meet up on Thursday. Okay. So here I end the class. Bye.
Sir, questions, sir.
Questions? What questions?
Sir, what questions we should write in our notes, sir?
Do you have textbooks? Do you have textbooks? Do you have Oswald
No,
series with
sir.
you? Then
Yes, sir.
wait for a while till the books are granted to you, until the books are supplied to you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Meanwhile, you can just go through the video that I'm sending you out on your WhatsApp group. And what else also you can do is you can have e-textbooks. Go to CBSE website and you can download e-textbook. You download this chapter. Okay. Any other doubts? No?
No doubt, sir.
Right, then we'll end up the class then. Bye all of you.
Yes, sir.
Bye.